I was sent this BX15 keyboard for review, and there are many things that I like about this keyboard. Number one, at the price range, this is a very affordable keyboard, and at this price range it is very unusual to find a keyboard that is so large, so wide. This has 88 keys and the normal is around 61 keys, I think, and those keyboards tend to be even a little bit more expensive. So the benefit of having a keyboard that's a lot wider, that has a lot more keys, almost 20 keys or so, or more than 20 keys actually, is that the scale, when you are progressing from the lower end to the higher end, you usually tend to jump a few keys at a time, so maybe a full octave or something, almost, or 2 octaves. So it does feel weird when you're going from the really low end to the really high end on the smaller keyboards, because you kind of do notice the jump from the scale or from the octaves. So it goes from like kind of deep to kind of high, and it doesn't seem too natural. Whereas when you have the full range of 88 keys, which is kind of the standard for more professional keyboards, then you kind of feel a more smooth progression within the octaves. Okay, so that's one of the things that I really like. Another thing, despite the size, this is a huge keyboard like I mentioned, this is foldable right here in half. So there is a button right here that presses in, and you simply hear a click, and then you can just fold it in half, and you can put it inside the carrying case and take it anywhere. So this is a beginner keyboard. This is meant for somebody who's trying to learn the piano, not necessarily a full beginner. You can be a seasoned player and you can still get a good benefit of this keyboard, because like I said, it's got all these big keys. The keys themselves are a little bit, they're not weighted, but they do have a bit of a resistance to them. So I was more used to the like a Yamaha keyboard that they tend to be really light, really light keys. So when I started playing with this, I did feel a little bit more resistance to the fingers, which I think can be a very good thing, because you can train your muscles better for when you get a chance to play on a higher end keyboard, which are weighted keys. And weighted keys, you do notice a huge difference, because you have to press really hard on them to to play the piano or the keyboard. So these are not weighted keys, but they do have some resistance, like I mentioned, so they will train your muscles to have a better feel of a real professional keyboard when you progress to that stage in your experience. Now, another thing to mention is that these are sensitive, touch sensitive keys, in the sense that if you press lightly on them, and then the sound is going to be kind of low, but if you press hard, like you listen, then the sound can be a lot louder. Okay, so this is meant for you to be able to add some feeling to whatever it is that you're trying to play. So the keyboard also comes with a sustain pedal, which is meant to prolong the sound of the key. So if I just poke the key like that, you only hear the sound for a brief second. If I press on the pedal, it is sustained for as long as I have the pedal pressed down, within reason. Not all sounds are sustained indefinitely. Like you heard, this one already shut off by itself, because it's a grand piano, so the grand piano just has a very limited range, just like a guitar, because the grand piano is based on instruments it's a guitar, it's a string instrument is what I'm trying to say. The grand piano is a string instrument, so the strings just vibrate for a very limited amount of time. So the sustain pedal, that's what it simulates. It lets the string play for as long as it can. Okay, so if I let go, then the sound is immediately cut off. There are other sounds, like electronic sounds, that will remain playing for as long as you have the pedal sustained. Right, so there's that. Now, I did try it with Yamaha pedal, and it did not work, because the Yamaha pedal for some reason has the opposite effect on this keyboard, meaning that as long as I am not pressing the pedal, the sound is sustained, whereas if I press the pedal, the sound is cut off. So it's the reverse. So you're better off using the included pedal. Now, this does also support the higher end pedals that are a combination or multi-pedal kind of thing, that they have 3 pedals in one, and that is for a lot more advanced keyboard players. I myself do not know how to play that, so I don't have one. But like I said, even though this is a beginner oriented keyboard, you can progress to a level where you can actually take advantage of the 3 pedal units, and then you can plug it in here and you can use it with those. All right, so speaking of ports, you have the 2 types of pedals like I mentioned. You have a MP3 input, you have a microphone input, and you have an audio output, and you have a USB connection which allows you to connect to a computer as a MIDI instrument. And this is where the keyboard shines, in my opinion, because the included sounds are okay. There are only 36 sounds, and you can change the sounds by holding down the piano sound button and then using the scroll, the volume knob, to change between the sounds. The included sounds are only 36, and they're okay for what you would expect a beginner keyboard to be. Just as like the speakers, it does have included speakers, which is great, but the speakers, they're only 25 watts, and the quality is, you know, what you would expect at this price range. Where the keyboard shines is when you connect it to your computer. In my case, I connected it to my Mac Studio and I loaded up GarageBand, and GarageBand immediately detects the keyboard, and you can just use it as a MIDI instrument, meaning that you can have access to the full range of keys in your computer within GarageBand, and within GarageBand you can pretty much select any sound that you want. You can even select a drum kit if you want to. So that's where this really shines. Now, it is not a perfect keyboard, it is an affordable keyboard after all, but for what you get, I think it's a pretty good build. This, despite being foldable, it is rather heavy. Sorry about that. It is rather heavy, and it does feel pretty well built. It doesn't feel like cheap plastic, or at least not what the price would suggest that you will get on a keyboard at this price range. So it does feel better built than the price suggests, which is what I'm trying to say. What else? There are some amenities included, or additional gifts. I don't think the amenities is the right word, but you know, you get my point. You get a stand. You get a stand for your, you know, you want to have notes, or you want to have chords or tabs or whatever. You can put them right here. And this also adds a little bit of extra sturdiness to the keyboard, not that it needed it anyway. It also includes a clip for your chords, or you know, if you have a notebook with your sheet music, you can use this clip to hold it in place, and that's a really good addition. It also comes with a couple of or a pair of headphones. I have not tested this yet, but you know, let's test it. Okay, I did test them. They are not very comfortable, and for some odd reason the sound of the speakers does not cut off when I plug in the headphones, so not really sure what the point is of using headphones with this. But at least, you know, they're here. From what I can tell, this is a TRRS plug, so it means that you can use it on your smartphone if your smartphone supports it. And you also have volume controls and a mic here, so you can use it for calls. So I guess it's a gift, you know. It's nice to have, I guess. Another nice thing that this has that I did not expect was that it is or it includes rather a rechargeable battery. So right now this is the power cable. If I turn it off or cut it off, actually unplug it, then I can still play the keyboard even though it's not connected to USB, because it is battery powered as well. So I did not expect that. The power switch is right here. It's a, you know, it's a switch, so it's alright. I would kind of have expected a button instead of a switch, but you know, it really doesn't matter. One thing to note is that the volume resets every time that you power off the keyboard. So right now it's a minimum. Right now it's at the minimum, and if I turn it off and then turn it back on, then yeah, there we go. It resets back to not mid sound or mid volume. Actually resets to almost max, because the maximum volume is level 15, and it if I remember correctly, it resets to level 12. Yeah, it resets to level 12 or 11. Really depends on whether you lower or increase the volume right after you turn it on. So another thing, when you turn the knob, if you turn it too quickly, there appears to be diminishing effect. So if I like turn it really fast, you see it didn't increase that much. If I increase it slowly, there we go. If I decrease it slowly, there we go. If I do it really quickly, it misses a lot of the the steps when you turn it. So I don't know why it's sad, but it is what it is. Again, at this price range, it's really hard to complain with the few things that I can nitpick about it. But the things that do include the app value that it does add, especially, like I said, it does really shine when you connect it into your computer. So there's that. I think I really would have liked to have this keyboard when I was beginning to learn the piano. I'm not like an expert player by any means, but I really would have appreciated having this amount of keys when I was learning to play the piano. So if you are somebody who's trying to learn the piano, who wants to learn the piano, or you know somebody who wants to learn the piano, maybe your child is going to learn, this is an excellent option to buy. I especially like the fact that it can fold and you can carry it anywhere. So even though it is rather heavy, when you fold it and you tuck it in the carrying case, it's a lot more manageable, to take out and about, right? And the battery helps a lot, because you don't really have to carry the power cord with you. So all in all, for the price, I like this keyboard, and thank you to the seller for sending this to review. Thank you for watching. I hope that you found this helpful, and I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, God bless.